it's not information for everybody, because not everybody is interested.
That's true.
So it's not something that anyone can shove down anybody's throat, although it's going to run right over the top of them. It's like, this is part of the uncomfortable part of all this.
Oh, I know.
Is that we can see all the signs, and, it's the story of the grasshopper. I mean, that played his fiddle all during fall and didn't store anything and died in the winter. I mean, it's an ancient story. People are just fiddling away. And it's with more and more diversions.
Oh, yes, I know. Now, to use Edgar Casey's idea that as within, so as without, meaning that the challenges or inner turmoil that a human being experiences often will play itself out or manifest in a equal reality in the universe. In other words, if there is a strong shift of consciousness, as we're speaking of, that in some ways there's going to be at least a period of chaos.
That's what the third night's all about. And we've got until December 4th for this to play out. And then a little bit tapering off. So it's going to get pretty dramatic, especially when we get past the midnight of this cycle. I mean, every day has a midday, and then the sun changes direction, and every night has a midnight, and we move toward dawn. And the same thing happens in a third night in this 360 days. And the very middle of it is June 6th.
2 days before Venus.
That's right. In other words, usually at this time something happens in the universe. Something changes the direction of consciousness.
What? Now, for those of you that have tuned in, folks, welcome to the show. You're listening to a live interview with Ian Lungold. You can reach Ian at his site to catch up on all the information that we've been discussing, and of course much, much more at his website, which is www.mayanmagix.com. Let me spell it, MayanMagix.com. Now, to further describe these things that will perhaps help us along, if you will, let's touch on the economic collapse again.
Okay.
And then, of course, maybe towards the end of the show we can talk about what you see coming in the way of Earth changes themselves. What's the latest, Ian, on the predictions of the economic shift?
Well, I'm not really an economist.
Right.
And I wouldn't admit it if I was, but it doesn't look good for the economy. And according to the Mayan calendar, I mean, here we are in a night, and in every single one of the nights through the whole planetary cycle, and now into the galactic cycle, in every one of the nights, there was an economic collapse. Go check it out. Look at the stock market. It's the most... Actually, there's an article at our webpage written by Dr. Carl Coleman called The Mayan Calendar and the World Economy. And it has the charts and graphs right there, and you can check it all out and look up the data yourself. And there it is. The best measurement of the Mayan calendar is the production of the world stock market, because it's based only on consciousness. That is, the stock market is only based on how people feel about things.
Oh, yes.
So this is a perfect measure, and in every one of the nights, first night, second night, now third night, in every one of them, there was an economic crash. So it shouldn't be any surprise.
Are you do you still believe it's going to be in April? I think it was April 17th. Or
actually, April 17th corresponds with the date that the Civil War started in the United States the last time around.
Yes.
And I'm telling you guys, I mean, take a look at the campaign.
Yes.
And listen to the rhetoric.
Yes.
It's all battles, strikes, shoots, hits. You know,
yes.
This is not. I mean, this is a war, guys.
Yes.
And it's a civil war.
I would agree.
It's not all guns and bullets and bombs and terrorists. It's a civil war that's going on, and it's going on in the courts.
Matter of fact, Ian, in the news reports that I saw and heard today, that was almost the exact language that they used. They didn't quite go to revolution, but they did describe simply that we're a divided country, and you're right. It's at least at this point we're not pulling out our guns, but something's got to give, and I'm very curious of what will facilitate this purge, if you will.
Panic would do it.
Yes.
You know, something like earthquakes or big natural disasters or misunderstandings.
Yes.
That would do it.
Oh, yes.
And
do you see that happening this year, or at least a build-up to that point?
Well, I certainly see a build-up. I mean, I really don't see anything in particular happening.
Yeah.
I can see what has happened in the past, and I see what's possible now. And you guys, everybody out there listening, I don't have to tell you what might happen. You got them all. You know that there's a bunch of stuff that could happen.
Yeah.
And probably might happen. And you, God, don't hope it doesn't happen. You know?
Right.
I mean, there's all that. And this is all part of this challenge of this consciousness.
Yes.
And I want to thank everybody out there who's listening. Thank yourselves for confronting your situation and for having the dream to be able to do something about it or be different than this. And it's very, very true that evolution continues. I really want to talk a little bit about the fourth day because everything seems so bleak right now that it's really important that people know that there's a light, and not just the hope of a light, but a whole bunch of evidence that during the fourth day, consciousness rebounds or is victorious. If it wasn't true, none of us would be here talking about this, because we've been through lots of third nights before and always went into a fourth day.
Well, tell us, what do we have to look forward to? What is the fourth day? What might it look like?
Well, it might look like your consciousness not being burdened by everybody else's, I can't and you can't do that. That's the biggest, baddest thing about the fourth day, is that the limits or bounds on what is possible and what is not possible start to change dramatically. They've always done it in the past.
How long will it take to... When do we get to the fourth day? How long is the third night?
The third night is until December 4th.
Okay.
2004. And then December 5th, it goes till the 3rd. And the 4th is the beginning of the fourth day.
You know, that would make it 1 week past the election, wouldn't it? Oh boy.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, it's the image or the impression of this third night, the emotional turmoil and whatnot. It doesn't die down immediately.
Yeah.
I mean, there's holdovers. But during the fourth day, in every one of the cycles. The new consciousness, which is